Assessment is a really important part of my instruction in all of my classes, whether they are online or in person. I use D2L to clearly communicate to students the learning objectives and the Common Course outcomes. And then when I'm grading their assignments, I'm always using a rubric, letting them know which Common Course outcome I'm measuring and then letting D2L give me the statistics for assessment as to whether or not students are performing and meeting the benchmark. And if students aren't meeting the benchmark, then I always know it's something I need to take a look at to go back and revise so that I can make something more clear or make something aligned directly with my content so students are able to meet those objectives and benchmarks for the Common Course outcomes. In all of my classes, I have a learning guide in each weekly module that gives a breakdown of the week and then also gives the learning objectives of the week and then the Common Course outcomes that the individual assignments will be assessing. If I go into a discussion board topic and open it from the student's point of view, they're able to see that rubric that I'm going to use when I grade their assignment. And depending on which dimension of the rubric I choose, that's going to show how they are meeting that Common Course outcome and then give them a score. And then it shows them right there the learning objective or the Common Course outcome that is being measured. From the instructor end, my piece, when I go into D2L and I want to take a look at the statistics for the Common Course outcomes, I have my Common Course outcomes here. There are 6 of them. These are outcomes that I have created that are distinct from Introduction to Film. This is a higher level course, so we're looking at different things. And then they're each going to align with an assignment that is going to be measuring them. So here it lets me know which assignments are measuring the Common Course outcome, ability to analyze and identify documentary films according to mode, style, and voice. If I click on that assignment, you can see that the objective is being assessed, excuse me, that the rubric is attached here and that the threshold is linked. I can look at the results in 2 different ways. I can look at them by student. So if I'm reporting in eLumen as we have been doing and they want it per student, not per class, I can aggregate it this way, or I can look at the statistics. And so even though everybody met that threshold benchmark, 13 were above average and 6 were just meeting that benchmark. And so for every single assignment that I have in my class, be it a discussion board or a paper or a final project in this documentary class, we're going to be making sure that we are measuring those Common Course outcomes. This is from a critical paper. So I'm getting the results from the students who did that particular paper and where they fell within the benchmark and the threshold that I select on the rubric. And then we can see here that there was one student that didn't meet the expectations. This doesn't necessarily mean that I need to go in and change that assignment, but I am certainly going to take a look at that individual student's paper, reach out to them, give them the opportunity to revise the paper. A lot of times, if they're not meeting the threshold, it's just something to do with the format of the paper, or maybe the paper wasn't long enough, but it's usually not something that involves them having to do a considerable amount of work to move up into meeting that benchmark or meeting that threshold. I really enjoy using these outcomes in D2L and then feeling confident that I am measuring these Common Course outcomes in a way that's, really aligning with what I'm setting out to do in class so that the assessment is meaningful and it's grounded in actual data as opposed to something different, as opposed to me just assuming or summarizing. I'm really able to dig deeply into seeing, where my students are falling. And typically from class to class, semester to semester, the majority of the students are doing a really good job. They're meeting that benchmark, and the majority of them, as you can see here, 19 of them are really exceeding that benchmark. So that's how I assess student learning through D2L, through using Common Course outcomes, learning objectives, rubrics, and then using those course competencies to link directly to my assignments to get those statistics so that I can report the data out.